Welcome to Real Estate Investing Secrets. We're all looking for freedom and the opportunity to live better, more fulfilling lives. But most of us were trained our entire lives to work for someone else and chase their dreams. How can we use real estate investing as a vehicle to achieve financial freedom? My life is dedicated to answering your real estate investing questions and helping you build an investing business that allows you to change your life and the world around you, and to enable you to turn your dreams of financial freedom into a reality. My name is Mike Hambright from FlipNerd.com, and your questions get answered here on the Real Estate Investing Secrets Show. What's up, Freedom Fighters? Hey, welcome back to the show. This is episode number 467. We're here with my buddy John Harcar. Coincidentally, just saw John at a meeting in Phoenix that we had for Investor Fuel just a few days ago. So it's kind of funny. I'm in Dallas. He's in Vegas. We met in Phoenix. And it's only been a couple days, and here we are again, John. So good to see you, my friend. Yeah,
you too, Mike. It was great to see you on last weekend.
Yeah. So everybody, today, if there's a couple of big trends that have happened in real estate investing over the past couple of years, and some of them are not like cutting edge, things. What we're going to talk about today is actually cold calling. And if a lot of us remember probably growing up, and it depends. I don't want to, whatever I say here, I'm going to date myself, so I have to be a little bit careful. But, we remember people door knocking or siding salesmen or window salesmen, cold calling and disrupting dinner and all that stuff. So cold calling's been around forever, right? But it's kind of had a resurgence here, and it's kind of gotten new again for real estate investing. And John is an expert in that. He's run call centers for a long, long time, even outside of real estate investing. But today we're going to talk about using call centers from an expert, John Harcar. So John, again, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, before we dive into this, and by the way, if you guys are listening right now, this is an amazing opportunity to start generating leads. If you're doing some old school stuff now and you feel a little bit stuck, we're hopefully going to get you unstuck during today's show. So John, tell us a little bit about your background, and let's kind of dive into to cold calling.
All right. Well, a little about me. I'm originally from Southern California. Made my way from Southern California to Arizona. Now I'm here in Vegas. My introductory background, I've been, I ran call centers for, a lot of lead generation industries, for the automotive industry, for another company where it was automotive related, and then eventually for Rebo Gateway, which is a real estate data provider.
Yeah.
That's where I got to meet a lot of tremendous investors and kind of started tickling the fancy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I made the jump last July, and been doing it ever since. It's a great road. It's a rocky, rough road, but it's fun. It really is.
So the amazing thing is, if you don't mind sharing, so you've been doing this, you were around it for a while, helping other investors with lists and lead gen and stuff like that. And then, there's a whole bunch of people that we've had on the show, or people that I know that were around real estate investing. And then they saw like, hey, wow, this guy just made a bunch of money on a deal. Like, I should be doing that, right? And so you saw a little peek of that, and then you're like, let me get some of this. So in less than a year, you've been in this business, and how many deals have you guys done?
I think our company, we did about close to 70. I haven't done all the exact. I'm figuring if we're going to count some of these, about 70.
70. And just to clarify, that's like 9 months, 8 or 9 months, even, right? So not even a year yet. That's fantastic. Yeah.
No, actually, today is a year. Okay. Today is 1 year in our business, so I'm trying to do all the numbers.
Yeah. That's amazing. In a market where a lot of people think it's challenging, a lot of people squeal about too much competition. And, I always love, honestly, there's a bunch of people that are, in our Investor Fuel Mastermind, and people that I know that while everybody's crying about how tough the market is, they're bringing home the bacon and out there, what do you say, kicking ass and taking names or something like that.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, that's incredible. I mean, for the old dogs that are crying about it's not the way it used to be, it's like, hey, get over it. There's a new path there. So that's cool.
Well, it's consistency, it's drive. I mean, I look at areas like Dallas. I look at areas like Phoenix. You know what I mean? I moved there. I was living there before here. There's so many people doing so much business. If you really, and it goes back to mindset. If you have the mindset that there are no deals, guess what you're going to get?
No deals.
No deals. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and I collaborate with a lot of the wholesalers here. I met one this morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
And collaboration, not competition.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And honestly, I would say that is another big trend that we've seen inside of our group and elsewhere, is that people are more willing to collaborate. Like, when I was coming up, a lot of people, just everybody's their competition. They didn't, and honestly, I had that mindset for a little while. And then when I started meeting people, teaching people, I've done a lot of coaching over the past 10 years. And I found ways to collaborate and build my business through collaboration, relationships, and JVs and all sorts of stuff. And it's just, and plus it's a lot more fun than being in a hole in the trenches by yourself and not having anybody to talk to, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's not only collaborating in the business side, but or of the deals, but bouncing ideas, and sharing what works and things that might help each other grow. Because, I mean, in the end, we're all in the business and we all want to get as many deals as possible. And if I have to give up a little bit to get something which would have been nothing, I'm more than happy to work with other people.
Yeah. It's all better than zero. So cool.
Yeah. Or better than a kick in the,
Yeah. So John, let's talk about, let's kind of get into cold calling. So maybe just really high level. I mean, this is kind of obvious, but talk about, what that is and what it is for the real estate investing industry.
Okay. Well, obviously cold calling is, calling someone out of the blue, and asking to sell their property or to buy their property. The reason why I think it's such a better trend, because you're being more proactive. We've all sent a lot of mail, and, in that sense, you're kind of waiting for it to come.
Right.
So with the cold calling, it's a more cost-effective way as well to go out and reach, and in my opinion, reach your target faster. Yeah. And that's the name of the game.
Yeah. And it's potentially less crowded, right? I know we've given the example a couple times. I don't know if you heard this one, but Stinson, who works with us here at Flip Nerd, had his father passed away a little while back, and he got hundreds of pieces of mail in the next 4 to 6 weeks from real estate investors after they filed probate, and he got 2 phone calls and 1 text message. And it just tells you, even though it seems like everybody would probably be doing that, so many people are still so focused on sending direct mail in mass ways. And that was really, we kind of know this, but for him to actually have this laboratory experiment and see it happen, which was pretty amazing. And by the way, he remembered each phone call, and he remembered the text messages. The direct mail, you can't remember anybody because it's just literally a stack of mail there, right?
Well, and look, I've had people tell us that, hey, I'm doing business with you because you actually decided to call me, not send me 18 pieces of mail.
Right.
And cold calling, being on the phone, it's one thing when we're fielding calls, right? We're fielding that we have that interest. Whereas when you're cold calling, you have to generate it. So for some people to do that and do the daily grind, it's just not for them. Yeah. That's why there's services they can outsource that to.
Right. And by the way, I'm by no means saying direct mail is dead. Direct mail is very, very important to this industry. But I think the key is, even in the direct mail space, you got to stand out. You got to stand out from the masses. And I think that is what some folks have found a way to do now with cold calling and some of the new forms of marketing. So what are you talk about some of the benefits? What are the benefits of it? There's kind of the direct response. Like if you're in this, it's hard to, and I've done this for 10 or 11 years now, over 11 or 12 years, send direct mail, and you send it like clockwork, but you're kind of send it, the average investor, send it, and you're kind of sitting around waiting for the phone to ring, right? So there's something about being proactive and going to get it versus sitting back and waiting for it, right?
Sure. Yeah. If I wanted to send out mail, and like you said, it's not dead. It works very well, but I want to get to that person faster because I know a lot of people are mailing and not many people are calling. And also, I think with the cold call, it's getting to that human emotion with that seller a lot faster because we know that that's a huge part of the process is really finding the reason why they're selling and dig that out. Cold calling is going to allow you to do it versus waiting for someone to try to call you that might not feel comfortable to talk to you about it.
Yeah. And John, for those that are listening right now that are like, man, I hate when people cold call me. I hate all those robo dialers, all that stuff, which I definitely hate the robo calls, a lot of ringless voicemail. I don't think we're going to talk much about that today, but you're talking about literally a real person is physically calling numbers, using auto dialers to call through them quickly. Right. But talk about, how you overcome that initial objection when people are not expecting you at all. They're getting hit out of nowhere. How do you kind of overcome those initial objections? What are some of the things you say to kind of open the door to a conversation?
I'm going to give a couple shout outs here because I kind of took in a couple guys' stuff and put it together. So I used a little bit of Brent Daniels' script, just calling up. And when you're calling someone, hey, this is John with, First Source Freedom, calling about the property. That kind of just, you're guiding them, whereas I use Brent's part of the script and say, hey, I apologize. I know this call is a little bit out of the blue. So you're kind of, apologizing at first.
Yeah, you're acting confused, right?
Yeah, you're kind of, I don't know if I have the right person. I know it's just kind of off the wall, but are you the so-and-so owner? And then once you get the owner, right, you find out that is, and I kind of go into a little bit of John Martinez. And okay, great. Hey, I'm looking at if they're considering an offer. I like to ask, or really lay it out, the agenda, the timeline, and the preferred outcome, right? So, hey, I'm going to ask you a few questions, if about the condition. If at any time you feel that this isn't for you, I really want you to tell me, right? And I'll do the same if you're not a fit. But if we are, I'd like to move on to the next step.
Sure.
And I think when I incorporated that after John's training, I really saw more conversations because you're basically giving them an out. Yep. You're saying, hey, if we're not comfortable, go ahead. I'm going to hang up. Go ahead. So I think those two parts, by kind of sounding confused and like you don't even know if you're the right person, so they're trying to help you. And then also that advanced agreement, John calls it, is really dropping the guard more.
Yeah, and John's approach to like that acting confused and like, I'm not sure if I'm even in the right place. I really hate to bother you, but the thing is it's so much more digestible than like some slick talking. Like I'm clearly running through a list right now, trying to reach you, right? So people are more likely to like, oh, this, not saying this, but oh, he's kind of confused. Let me
yeah, exactly.
See if I can help this gentleman here.
You're kind of dumbing it down a little bit. I don't even know, and they want to help you.
Right.
So, and then like I said, that further part allows them to really understand. Hey, look, I'm not trying to get you. You want to hang up. So
right now, so let's talk a little bit about how kind of different ways to do this. I mean, clearly the investors that are listening right now, they could do this themselves. I know you have a bigger operation, so you have a team that's doing it. Sometimes people just outsource it to a company to do it. Like, let's talk about the pros and cons of kind of doing it yourself, maybe having a team do it, or even outsourcing it.
Okay. For me, I've always had the team mentality in-house. That's how all my other call centers have been. I think it's a way that person can develop more. Someone can learn with a video and you'll learn the basics, but I think there's a lot of, I'm sitting next to someone that's in a great call. The emotion is there. You can hear it, the tempo, the pitch, all those things. Being next to someone, I think you could feel it a little bit more. The cons of it, because the guys are right next door, sometimes you just deal with a little bit of the human problems. You know what I mean? And I get it, and I've dealt with it a lot. But this business is really built on consistency, and when you don't have that consistency, even in one caller, it can kind of throw the whole game off, in my sense, a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's just finding those right people. But I love working with them. I'm the type of guy, I love to be in the pit. I like to listen to them. If they're saying something, I like to say, "Hey, say this." But that's me. Now, if you don't have the patience to deal with people in the office, or maybe even the budget to hire all these people, you could do the VA route, and that's a great way, because if you're not comfortable on the phone, which not everybody is, not for everybody, but you understand the value of the cold calling and the proactiveness, then you can hire a VA service and they can just kind of up you the leads. You just kind of train them and you really audit, from what I've heard. I've never used VAs yet. I've been thinking about it. But you just got to really audit them a lot. Just make sure that they're on the track and speaking, because they're speaking for you. They're your first line, and you need to make sure that they're saying the right things.
Sure. There's pros and cons of the VA route as well, right?
Sure.
I mean, one of the bigger pros is they're not in your office, or if you happen to work from home, you don't have to worry about housing people. Of course,
Exactly.
There's always some challenges. They're always worried about cultural differences if you're outsourcing it to, say, the Philippines or somewhere else, and being able to, out of sight, out of mind. So the cool thing is in a lot of the tools provide reporting, right? How many numbers were called, how many connections they made, how long was the average conversation, and then ultimately you can track appointments set and offers made and contracts, right?
There's a lot of services. I mean, you can, for the VAs, you can even, join on their screen and kind of watch what they're doing and, live updates with, I use Call Tools as my dialer. And you can actually, you can see their live performance. So you can actually listen to their calls, barge in if you want. So, what I do as far as auditing my guys, I mean, I do it as much as I can. And once a week or twice a week, we'll sit down and we'll spend an hour or two and go over those call audits. So when you're doing the VA route, that's something that, I think you'd have to do as well to keep them on track.
Right. And a call center atmosphere, I mean, there's a lot of power and energy in that group sitting there around each other, like that have the energy of having a good call. They hear what somebody said and they're like, oh man, I'm going to start using that. Like there's some competition that happens, right? I mean, all those things are good, right?
Yeah. We have the board. They have to go put their leads up. From Jason Lewis, he just joined the Investor Fuel.
Yep.
He gave the great tip of the dice game. You get to roll one dice if you do it today. If you do it tomorrow, also then you roll. So we started doing some things like that to really get that little, because that is a hard thing. You got these people that are all together for 8 hours a day or 6 to 8 hours a day, and if you don't keep the energy up, one low person can bring it all down, in a sense.
Sure, no doubt. So one other thing to clarify with your model is, at this point, you could have a local model and, set the leads up. Like if you guys are listening, once you generate the lead, the call center, their purpose could be to generate a lead and hand it off to an acquisitions manager, right? Your model is to generate the lead, build the relationship, ultimately doing the sales call, the buy appointment that we call, over the phone, right? You're trying to do it all over the phone.
Yeah, 90% of my business is over the phone. And I think it's just because how we set it up is a couple of ways. We do 2 virtual markets as well. And we have boots on the ground there. That's key. A strategic partner on the ground is huge. And our guy in San Antonio and Idaho, they're both very, very good. But when we do that setup, it's more of a, hey, are you in this range? Normally it's like 40 to 60% of Zillow. In Idaho, we know the differences in Zillow and the real pricing. So we'll say, hey, are you in this range? Basically telling we're not paying full retail. This is kind of where we're going to be at. If you're cool, we'll send our guy. If not, we won't. We don't send any appointments that aren't like that. Here in Vegas, we usually only go to a house when we're ready to go either get the contract signed or just take pictures. And normally it's kind of the same thing over the phone, but here we have the ability to get more pinpoint and get the exact ARV of what it is that we know where we need to be. And we know our buyers very well here. So I know exactly what areas where they're going to buy and at what percentage. We can do it all over.
So, and one of the benefits, obviously, of the virtual model is that it's allowed you to doing the whole thing over the phone. It's allowed you to move into multiple markets, right? I mean, there's some challenges with that, which we're not going to go into today. But once you have the ability to do the whole thing or the majority of it on the phone, it really opens up new potential opportunities, right, for certainly geographies.
Yeah, because if you know your numbers enough and you know your buyers enough, you can really do everything right over the phone. It's very, very simple.
Sure.
It's not simple, but if you get it down and you get that process down, then you can close over the phone 95%, 100% of your deals.
That's awesome. So let's talk. You talked about the tools, some of the tools you use. You use call tools. There's a lot of people that use the Mojo Dialer. What are some other tools that you use in your business that people should check out if they don't know them already?
Call tools, like you mentioned. We also use CallRail. We use CallRail numbers. We've started using Lead Sherpa to do texts.
Yep.
They also do skip tracing. And prior to Lead Sherpa, we were using IDI. And I was getting usually around 80 to 85% with Lead Sherpa. I've skipped 3 lists and nothing has been less than 92% match rate. So it's been awesome. And a great thing that they do also is they separate potential litigators. Right? We're
not going to provide legal advice for anybody here, but there's always this question of for any of you that are listening right now, you should try to do your research on the laws and stuff. We know there's a lot of people that think the laws may change here with calling. Now, the truth is you probably have to try to avoid the do not call list. You should avoid that. And if you're, I think even though people may not like it, it's still acceptable to do one-off calls versus dropping. Probably there's more pressure on the ringless voicemail. People are dropping tens of thousands of voice messages at a time, right? Then.
Well, it's like that's very much of a gray area. We're not selling anything.
Yeah, that is the other thing is that I've heard, we're not selling, we're trying to buy, and we're trying to provide a service, and so yeah. But anyway, we're not going to provide legal advice, guys. But
We'll abide by the DNC, and you tell me to take me off your list. We'll take you off your list. I mean,
sure.
I'm not, not gonna pound you to death with calls when you tell me.
Right.
But it's so very much a gray area. I don't think that they'll be able to ever say you can't phone call. You maybe make a little bit of dial stuff, with like the ringless voicemail, maybe the texts. I don't know, but I don't think they can ever do that with the call.
Right. So let's talk about some of the best lists that you found. I know you were doing some broader stuff. You've kind of pulled it into some more niche-y stuff. Let's maybe share some of your lists and maybe some of the ones you don't use anymore, like because you didn't think it was worthy of your time.
Sure. Well, the different companies we use for our data, I obviously still use Revo Gateway. It's Revo Gateway still got a lot of good data. I also use PropStream, Property Radar as well, because they're good on the West Coast. But as far as when I started, we were doing mainly just bigger zip code lists. We weren't really doing the niche, and the benefit of that is we're finding people that weren't on the niche list. But the downfall of that is that it took a lot more dirt to dig through to find the niche stuff, the gold stuff. So now we started doing a little bit more of that. I'm starting to pull more of the liens from Property Radar and the violations and stuff from Revo as well. I'm starting to stack a little bit of it to try to get multiple pain points. But really with a lot of the niche stuff, I've been doing more of the texts. Actually, I also went after 5+. And they did that.
Plus properties, they own at least 5 properties. Okay.
At least 5+ properties. And I mean, I got, I did it in San Antonio. I probably got, 6 or 7 really hot leads that are, 6 to 37 properties.
And they're usually, is your thought or what you're experiencing so far, is that people that are like, I'm ready to sell the whole damn thing, or they've got one turd in there that they're like, you know what, I normally don't sell these things, but I got this one right now that I'd love to get rid of. Is that
that's more of the angle I think in my vision, my thought of when I was going to do that is like, yes, I'll pick off 1 or 2, and if I land in a gold mine of 37 properties that he wants to divest the whole portfolio, boom.
Yeah. If you've got a portfolio, there's always a dog or two in there that you're like.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and also too, they might just be tired of being the landlord part, and we can do some maybe type of owner financing, because that's another tool as opposed to just wholesaling that I think I want to get into. That are subject to type of stuff.
Yeah. The interesting thing, we haven't really focused on this, but if you could find those sellers sometimes, I mean, they might be even willing to sell it and provide financing, because they're like, let's be honest, if you're later in life and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to harvest this thing at some point, it's like, at the end of the day, if you could provide the financing on it, you don't have to take the hit, the sales tax hit up front, because you're going to get that sale occurs over time, and so you don't have all the tax hit right now, and you could continue to make money and not have to manage tenants anymore. And there's a lot of,
and that's another part of the thought, was that maybe they're on the upper side of the age, because you don't, but they still want that mailbox money, but not do the phone calls.
Yeah, we just got 2 killer deals. I mean, like awesome deals from a landlord. He's starting to have some health issues, a little bit older, and there's always landlords that are charging way under market rent, because they're like, well, if I charge under market, then they're not going to leave. They'll just stay there forever. And so they basically charge a lot less to get them to stay there. And these deals, I was about to make an offer, and they told me what the rent was. And I just caught on to this, that I was like, I'm paying you 100 times rent. Like literally, you get rid of the taxes, you get rid of having to deal with all the deferred maintenance. There's a ton of it. You never have to talk to tenants again. And I'm going to, effectively 100 times rent, which is usually kind of the rule of thumb, but they were so far under market that they're like, and this guy was older, and, for all I know, he may not have 10 years left. I mean, I hope he does. I'm not trying to like kill anybody off. But my point was, when I told them that, they're like, wow. I was like, you never have to chase rent again. You never have to go fix anything again. And you're getting 100 times rent. And that literally, when I said that, is when they thought, wow, that sounds like, I think we're going to go with this, So worked out to my advantage that it was way under market rent, really. But
I think we missed some opportunity. You know what I mean? It's just some things that we could have had extra revenue sources outside of just doing the wholesaling part. And
sure,
it's learning, it's growing. You know what I mean? I think we wanted to get this beast locked down first,
Yeah.
Going in other areas, but then again, that would have been perfect one. That would have been perfect one. So
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit last week when we met up, but at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with wholesaling, but just being in the transaction business and never setting anything aside to build long-term wealth and have another stream of income, like eventually you regret that, and not that rentals are the land of milk and honey, but having an asset there that can pay you over a long period of time and having another source of income is something that we all should be doing more of.
Wholesaling, I'm only as good as the next deal, last deal.
That's
You know what I
exactly
mean?
right.
So we have to, I don't think as much as want more than necessity to be able to diversify that, because if we can get the basic coming in on each month to, let's say, even just cover the nut, then that's going to make me maybe keep what air I've left.
Yeah, it helps. Honestly, we have a rental portfolio, and for years I was like, man, this is such a pain in the butt. And then one day we woke up, there's been a lot of appreciation in the market. We paid down our debt pretty aggressively, and it starts spending off some cash. And it got to a point where I was like, man, I should have kept even more, like I get it now, not
Sure.
that it wasn't without problems, but it's a great asset that it'd be a shame if you look back someday and you had sold them all. And
Well, I'd like to leave some to my, give my daughter some eventually. You know what I mean? Create that family wealth, that legacy wealth. You know what I mean?
Yep. No doubt. So John, you're a member of our Investor Fuel Mastermind. We're so appreciative of you being there. You've been a great asset, always willing to help other people. Would you mind maybe just kind of sharing your thoughts on the Mastermind, Investor Fuel Mastermind?
Yeah, no, I mean, as far as Investor Fuel goes, I mean, I've been to other masterminds, other events, and what I really love about Investor Fuel is the family. It's more intimate. It's more of that family environment. And I've talked to more Investor Fuel guys and learned more just by talking to them than I have in any other place I've been to. Now, they're all great. Everyone's great. But this group, you can't help but feel comfortable, but you can't help but learn from the best guys out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who's it a fit for in your experience? I mean, who do you think could get value out of a group like Investor Fuel?
I think anybody who's looking to really grow their business and take it to another level and learn things that are going to help you scale the right way. I mean, I think that's what Investor Fuel is for. I mean, we did a good amount of business, and we kind of perfected this, and this goes back to the me needing to do different things like owner financing, is that I can learn things from people that have done it and then help me level up and aren't afraid to or aren't against getting on the phone and spending the time with me.
Yeah.
To do it. And I think that's huge, because you can call some people in other groups and it's like you leave a message and make an appointment. Well, these guys are there, on whenever you need them.
Yeah.
That's where I'm getting my value.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate having you as a member of the group.
Thank you.
So John, if folks want to learn more about you, want to connect with you on social media or something, where's a good place for them to go?
Well, I don't have any. I don't do the whole. I have an Instagram.
I know you have nothing for sale. Yeah.
I don't do anything on that. You can reach me on Facebook. If someone wants to email me, it's my first name, John, at firstsourcefreedom.com. If anybody wants to give me a call, I don't mind. Or just shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger, and I'll give you my number and we'll chat.
Cool.
Yeah, I love talking to people about the business. I love talking to you about cold calling, and so I welcome it.
Yeah. No, you've always been helpful. So awesome, man. This is great information. So for those looking to get started doing this, like let's say they hear all this, it seems kind of overwhelming. Like, I'm not going to set up a call center. I'm working out of the house. My wife's going to kill me if I try to turn our dining room into a boiler room, like call center operation or something. Nobody's going to do that. But if folks are looking to get started, what do you think the first step is? I mean, I would probably, I don't want to steal your thunder here. The first step is kind of know what your goals are, right? Like, how big do you need to be to hit your goals, right? But what do folks need to be thinking of in terms of how do I get out of the gate here? I heard this today. What do I do today or tomorrow?
As far as getting started cold calling?
Yeah.
Well, it's really just I think it's a matter of, and I think a great way for people to do and start cold calling is do driving for dollars. We know that's one of the best lists out there anyways.
Yeah.
But drive for dollars and just start calling those. Start just getting comfortable talking to those people. As you progress, get into a dialer right? If you're starting to call, you want to call more and more, start working on a dialer. But I think before you try to hire people and train them to call, you have to be comfortable with the calls. You have to be comfortable with the objections. Brent Daniels has some great stuff on his YouTube channel. You can check him out. Like I said, I'll be happy to walk people through stuff. But it's really just getting yourself comfortable, because that's what calling is about. You don't know if you can do it or not.
Yeah. And what if you can't, though? What if the person listening to this, they're like, hey, I am a real estate investor. I'm not giving up on this, but I do not belong on the phone. I don't like it. I don't have time for it, whatever. So is it okay to know that it's not for you? That doesn't mean your company shouldn't do it. Maybe it means that just you shouldn't do it. But is it okay for people that are listening to this? So like, man, like my wife's an introvert, like, but she is a genius, right? So she's like, she would never do that, but that doesn't mean the business shouldn't do it. It just means like maybe, it's kind of be true to yourself, right?
Well, of course. And, like I said before, it's not going to be for everybody. My wife will talk to anybody on the phone for hours, except when she tries to pick up the phone and do a cold call. She just
clams up, right?
Yeah. So there's different VAs you can hire. There's different services. Martinez has seller snipers.
Right.
Lead Geeks there's a bunch of them out there. You can look at on Upwork for VAs. But you can always hire a VA and have them call. But once again, you just got to make sure that you train them the right way. That they know what they're saying, and you listen to their calls and audit.
Yep. Awesome. Well, John, thanks again for sharing all this information with us.
No, of course, man. Like I said, I like talking real estate. So anybody wants to call.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody. This is episode number 467. I hope you got some good value out of today. Definitely appreciate John sharing his knowledge and his experience with us. If you haven't already, subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, wherever you watch or listen to us at. And or if you're not watching us on any of those places, you could always go to flipnerd.com. We actually have over 1,500 shows that we've created over the past 5.5 years. Lots of great information out there. Truthfully, just an amazing resource to help you and help real estate investors. Our goal really is to help others achieve financial freedom through real estate investing. So we appreciate you subscribing, leaving us any positive reviews that you care to do. We sure appreciate it. So we're excited to see you on some upcoming episodes. Until the next one. I screwed up my tagline, John. I have this little tagline I've been trying to put in here. And I don't know if I like it yet. I've been saying it, so you guys, this is a little bit of the bloop. This would maybe be for the blooper reel, but we're going to include it in here right now. But I've been saying, stay strong, stay cool, and keep fighting for freedom. So, John, thanks again, buddy.
Thanks, Mike. I like
everybody,
that. I like
everybody. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to today's show. There are 3 ways I can help you start or grow your real estate investing business. If you're a new investor and just getting started, the Flip Nerd Investor Coaching Program is the most effective program in America. I've been coaching and mentoring new real estate investors for 10 years, and my students have literally purchased thousands and thousands of properties. Many of them started with little to no experience at all. Our program is a paint-by-numbers program where we tell you exactly what to do week by week to make sure that you don't get distracted on your way to results. We show you how to build a real business, not just create another job for yourself. New memberships are limited. You can learn more and apply or schedule a call with me and my team at flipnerd.com/coaching. If you're an experienced investor doing a minimum of 10 deals a year, up to 500 deals a year or more, or have a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio already, you should check out our powerful Investor Fuel Real Estate Investor Mastermind. Over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors are members, and it's not uncommon for our members to 2 to 5x their business just from getting around other members at Investor Fuel. At Investor Fuel, each of us are business advisors to one another's businesses, but we don't stop at business. We focus heavily on becoming better people and living fuller lives. If you're looking for fuel for your business or fuel for your life, please check out investorfuel.com. Applications and interviews are required, as most investors are not a fit for our community. Please learn more at investorfuel.com. If you're not ready for coaching or masterminds but eager to start learning more about investing, please join our private Facebook group by visiting flipnerd.com/Facebook. New members get access to free training from us right here at flipnerd.com,
and it's a community to safely ask your questions. A great place to get started. Simply go to flipnerd.com/Facebook to request your access today.